Hey guys, it's me, Julia. Welcome back. It's so nice to see you guys again. If you're here, then I know that you're doing something to grow your business. You either are a dentist, a doctor, a chiropractor, have a wellness center, or you're an individual business owner, entrepreneur, a solopreneur, or a mompreneur, as it were. I am so happy to see you guys, and I want to thank you for being here. If you have never done this before, click the button below to subscribe and to like my channel so that you can get notified about new stuff that comes out. I have been helping business owners and entrepreneurs and self-employed people grow their businesses through sales and marketing for the better part of 20 years. Prior to that, I was in sales and marketing as a top producing salesperson, and it is my great pleasure to tell you that I was trained to be in sales from the time I was about 8 years old by my mom and dad, who were also entrepreneurs, and their parents were entrepreneurs. So I come by it very honestly, third generation entrepreneur. Um, I have some great tips, tricks, and information on how you can grow your business. I also have an awesome Facebook group where we talk about marketing and sales tips. So please look for me there. I'll put the link in the comments below so that you can find my Facebook group, join, contribute, get information. The reason that we're getting together today is specifically to talk about Facebook. These are going to be very basic tips, 5 very basic tips about growing your Facebook presence so that you can actually grow your business. These are things that are going to work for individuals as well as for businesses. And that's what I've been doing. I've been helping individuals and businesses to grow their presence on Facebook, to get their word out, their message out, build their branding, and ultimately get more customers for well, about 11 years, since about 2009. So that's been very exciting. I do that in tandem with other marketing and sales tips so that anybody, no matter what, can grow their business and get more exposure. I also highly recommend using YouTube. I'm here, so I definitely recommend it. Awesome. When you leave today, you're going to have 5 tips about what you can do specifically to grow your presence, to grow your brand, and to grow how people see you and perceive you on Facebook and other social media platforms. Just because I'm talking about Facebook, don't worry, you can use these tips on Alignable, on Pinterest, of course on YouTube, even TikTok if you wanted to. Anywhere that you want to go, you can use these tips and these ideas. The first thing that I'm going to talk about is setting up your profile for success. Then making new friends and putting your message out there. I'm also going to talk about the 5 pillars and what you want your 5 pillars to be. A lot of this has to do specifically with sales. So if you've never done a sales course before, this is going to be a lot of fun. This is going to help you with some new stuff. The benefits of doing this class, of course, are so that you can make more money. And I want to tell you that I've been working with a lot of people who have never been on Facebook before, never been on social media before, and they're a little bit nervous about dipping their toe in. And this is where they're going to start. Once we go through these tips, they learn exactly what they need to do and are immediately able to jump in and get going. So that's always good. And then, of course, they can go a little bit farther. We're going to talk about 5 things in a row so that it all makes sense. And I want to know if you have been using Facebook or Alignable or Nextdoor, or what platform you have been using successfully, or what challenges that you might have had that you'd love to overcome, because I'd love to make a video about that and help you get started. Okay, if you haven't done so yet, please hit that like and subscribe button below so that you get notified about my next videos. Please join me on Facebook for my class, and let's begin. Step number 1, when you're on social media, when you're on any platform at all, I want you to remember to always put a photograph in the profile section. The other day I was working with someone who is just starting out their new business. They have a network marketing business, and they didn't have a photo of themselves in their profile. It was just that little gray person that they put in as a placeholder. Unfortunately, she was struggling and came to me because every single time she tried to friend someone new, she didn't look like a real person, so people weren't responding to her positively. She hadn't yet gotten to the point where she'd been turned in as a spammer, but I told her that might be something that was coming. Always put a photograph in that space. You can have somebody snap a picture of you with your smartphone. Maybe you could even find a picture of yourself on someone else's page that they've taken at an event and put that photo in. It doesn't even necessarily have to be a recent photo, and in some cases it doesn't even have to be you. Maybe it could be a flower or your dog or something like that, but have a photograph there, and also do the same thing with your cover photo. I also highly recommend that you fill out all of the profile information so that people can learn a little bit more about you, what your name is, what part of the country you live in. You do not have to get personal. This is not a time to be political or to get into your deep, dark political or religious beliefs and things like that. This is a time to think light and think positive and branding. And we don't want to get too heavy. This is about your business, and we want to make sure that that message that comes through is pretty even keel so that anyone wants to do business with you, and we can go from there. Unless, of course, your business is religion and politics, and that's a little bit different. Um, Once you have your profile set up, and that's your main profile page, and when you hit home, you'll notice that you're always going to the news feed. The news feed is like reading the newspaper of what's going on with other people and their life and their stories and what's happening with them. So every day when I start out, when I go right to Facebook each and every day, the first place I start is on my news feed. I start looking at what's going on with my friends in the world. I always make it a point to spend at least 15 minutes going through all of that news feed and other places, just wherever things take me, scrolling through and commenting on different posts and different places where people can tell me what's going on. I want to respond to them, and I want to respond with 5 to 10 word responses. I want to put comments in the comment section, 5 to 10 words. I don't want to do a 1 or a 2 or a 3 word comment. I want this to be more meaningful. What that does is that boosts engagement for that other person, and it also boosts the relationship and the engagement between me and that other person. And there's a reason that I want to do that. That way, when I go out and post, I know more people are going to see my posts because I've commented on their page. There may have been a word you might have heard several times, and that's the algorithm. That's the way Facebook decides who sees your posts. And you're looking to have the algorithm get your posts out to as many people as possible, right? That's what we want. We want as many people as possible to see our posts. To that end, when you go out and you start posting on a lot of different people's walls and making comments, not just liking, not just putting a little heart or a love sign or something like that, but really interacting with individual posts, those people will see your post because Facebook will know that you're really communicating with them. Really good tip. Big, big tip. After you've done that, after you've made all of those comments, that's the time when you can go in and do a couple of posts. Now, I typically like to do at least 3 posts a day, but I want to start with my first post after I've already looked at other people's comments and I've made comments on their posts. Then I want to do my post, and I want it to be something really good and powerful that has to do with my brand and my message. And that might be something like a quote. I might be wanting to do a quote or something about a product or service that I offer. So I'm going to go out to Google. I'm going to look for a photograph. I like to use the website Pexels or Pixabay to get royalty-free photographs, or use my own photographs if I have those in my camera or in my gallery or something like that. And then I could even use a site like Canva. Now I'm going to put all of these links in the comments below for Pixabay, Pexels, Canva, things like that I use. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a positive message out into the world. I'm going to come back to how I choose those messages in just a second. But I'm going to put that out, and I know that people are going to see my post because I've already gone to their pages. I'm also going to put that into my stories. You'll notice when you go to your Facebook page, right under the top where it says what's going on and create a post, underneath of there are some tiles that are vertical. That's the stories section. I want to post into stories too, because people are going to see my stories and interact with me there. That's a place that I like to use big, bold graphics. Not a lot of words, but big, bold graphics, graphical pictures, bright colors. I really want to get my message out in the stories that way. Okay, I said I was going to tell you specifically. Now mind you, I should tell you we're up to tip number 3. Tip number 1, use your fill out your information, use your photo. Tip number 2, when you start out your day, on Facebook, you want to comment on people's posts and you want to use 5 to 10 words and emojis. Tip number 3 is create your own post, right? Tip number 3 is create your own post, and that post should be positive, and it should be something that speaks to who you really are and who your brand is. Tip number 4 is about deciding what that's going to be about, what your posts are going to be about. So this is kind of the meat and potatoes of where we're going with this conversation today. I'm a firm believer that when you're trying to create a brand and a message to speak to the world, that you want to choose a minimum of 5 different pillars about who you are and who your product or service is. So in my case, I'm a sales and marketing consultant. I'm married and I have 4 adorable puppies, and I'm very close with my family. I have a business where I help dentists, doctors, wellness professionals, and entrepreneurs to grow their businesses. And I do that through 3 ideas, which is number 1, get new customers. Number 2, you don't want to have to raise your price to raise your income, so raise your value. And number 3, increase the number of products and services that you have in your business so that you can sell more products to the same customers. And I do that myself with a product that is a DNA-based nutrition product that I talk about. This is my DNA-based nutrition product, which I can share with you if you are one of those businesses that would be interested in that. So you might have 5 pillars that have to do with cooking, or where you live, what part of the country you're in. Oh, I forgot to mention my other pillar. My other pillar is that I'm a Maryland girl. I'm from Maryland. I've lived here almost all of my life, except for about 3 years when I lived in Northern Virginia, but I've really always lived in Maryland. I'm a Maryland girl through and through. We're into crabs and our flag and Old Bay. But what part of the country are you from? Are you into cooking? Are you into sourdough bread making? Are you into a particular school you went to for college or high school? My friend who is into Hampton University. Are you a nurse or a teacher or a police officer? Are those pillars of what you're doing? Are you way into positivity and maybe you're a big fan of a particular positive thinking and motivational speaker or group of speakers like Bob Proctor or Tony Robbins or Danny Johnson? Or are you really, really excited about the spring or where you live in the water? Are you into boating or skiing? Things like that. Are you into mountain biking or crocheting? Those pillars that you talk about become things that people will readily expect to see when they see you posting. Those are going to be things that you want to speak to your brand and to your message, and that really feed into what your business is all about and what your business culture is all about. It makes it easy for people to understand who you are and to really get to know you better if you're consistent with your messaging. You might even want to keep a Post-it note up so that you remember specifically what you want to talk about every day. And maybe instead of doing 3 posts a day, you do 5 posts a day, 1 about each pillar. As you grow in your profile and in your personality online, you can start incorporating more things. For instance, I like to incorporate a lot of times in my messaging and branding, buy local, shop local. Something I talk about all the time. I'm a firm believer in that. I post about it quite often. Stuff like that really gets people understanding, and that is what feeds into building your brand and what you can be posting about. So last tip number 5 is to start great conversations. Don't just only post like a quote and things like that. Maybe start asking some questions. Maybe start asking about how other people are spending their time, what their favorite movie is, what's their favorite color. Post a quiz, post something that gets people talking to you, gets people talking with you. All of these things are going to help you to make new friends and to help build your friends list on Facebook, especially when you're starting out. And that also includes other social media. I talk about Facebook, but that's other social media. In our next video, I'm going to give you some specific strategies about how to make a lot of new friends on Facebook. That's going to be coming up right after this video. I look forward to seeing you again soon. If you didn't already hit the subscribe and like button, please do that for me below. And it was great seeing you again. My name is Julia Flynn Worry, and I love being with you, learning more about what your business is and how we can help you to grow it. Have an awesome week. Thanks.